Welcome back to the Higher Form Podcast. We're here every week having real conversations with leaders, coaches, and everyday people about what it takes to become your best. We know life will test you, and we're here to share practical tips, tools, and relatable stories to help you build the highest form of your life. This week, we're going to explore the top health and fitness trends in 2026. We actually did an episode similar to this last year. It was the top trends and hacks of 2025. Cold plunges, creatines, wearables, peptides, all those different things. And it was one of our most listened to episodes, so we figured we'd revisit it and rehash it.
Yeah, kind of see like what's evolved, what's new, what's actually worth your attention this year. Some of these build from last year, like there's still some trends that are still very much trending. And then there's a couple of new things that we'll bring up that have started to pop on the map a little bit more lately.
Yeah, it feels like the fitness industry is ever evolving, and it's probably time for us to revisit what's worth your attention.
Yeah, it is ever evolving, but then there are some things that are turning into like mainstays that are becoming more and more regularly occurring in people's decisions and lives, for sure. So
the one we hear about the most and has really settled into the future of how people are changing their body composition is GLP-1s.
yeah,
Or GLP medications in general.
GLP medications. We talked a lot about like peptides and a little bit of GLPs last year. I can't even like watch something without having some sort of GLP like commercial all over. I mean, we're like watching playoff games and things right now, and like every other commercial is a peptide or a GLP commercial.
I mean, even on social media, a lot of the ads I see are around health optimization and hormones and peptides and all that stuff. So definitely a big part of the wellness push has been getting into the medically supervised side of things.
Yeah. Well, and it's very common, especially with people, more and more people taking GLPs to transform their bodies, lose weight, get healthier. We're seeing muscle loss is a really big thing that I think is not being addressed enough, or it's just starting to now become recognized that it's a big problem that is happening with people who are taking
even
GLPs.
Clients that we've worked with firsthand, we've seen some of that. And you just have to really be dialed in on the nutrition and strength training side to make sure that you're limiting the effect of the potential muscle loss, especially when you're seeing rapid weight loss from those products.
Yeah, well, and it impacts your appetite. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want to say an appetite suppressant, but like, yeah, kind of, right?
In some capacity, maybe more indirectly than directly.
Yeah, it's not the same as like a legitimate appetite suppressant, but it is harder to eat enough calories, which is kind of the whole point, right? But to get enough protein in is really hard for people who are taking it. So you have to be really diligent about eating enough, as well as strength training to preserve as much muscle as you can while you're going through something like that.
What I think is in the works now in regards to the way people are utilizing this, for those that have started to lean into a little bit more, is just understanding the right protocols for utilizing them.
Yeah.
And we've had conversations with others on this podcast before around, what if I am not hungry when I'm on a GLP and I am seeing muscle loss? Like, well, maybe you should just like titrate your dose down a little bit more and not be so heavy. So micro dosing these things, and maybe not going all in on it. But the different forms of medication, or they have just like the dissolvable forms in the pills that are coming out, and it's going to continue to evolve for sure.
Yeah, you're going to see it around even more than you already are now. And I think if you're going to, we just did, our nutritionist here at Avexia, Jackie, she did a seminar on just what are GLPs, pros and cons, side effects of taking it, like, how do you go about it if you are going to take it, or if you're even debating on taking it? Like, what is it? What is it doing in your body?
Yeah,
because I think you should educate yourself. If you are interested in taking it, don't just like go and take it and not really know what you're doing, or follow some sort of protocol to make sure all these other things about your health aren't getting diminished at the same time.
Yeah, and one of the things that she talked about was how our body naturally produces this. So it's not something that you can't increase natural production of through just typical lifestyle factors. It's just finding that balance of helping people, I don't want to say press the easy button, but make things a little bit more convenient.
Yeah.
And hack their way into more efficient weight loss or simpler weight loss.
Or faster than they would be able to do on their own because of their own personal, like maybe discipline levels or abilities to be consistent with any given, protocol or agenda that they're following.
For sure. And we're certainly not experts on it, but it's definitely something that is moving fast and is probably here to stay for a
Yeah,
while.
I think so. I think because people are seeing a lot of results with it and they like it, I think it's gonna stick around. Yeah.
Yep. We won't dive into peptides too much on this, but it's also something that you see coming out. What I think is interesting about the peptides piece before we move into the next topic is that you're starting to see the division of what peptides are legitimate and which aren't. There's more studies that are starting to happen around this. There's more education coming out around like which ones are actually worth investing in and putting into your body versus
Yeah.
others that are maybe like making claims that haven't technically been proven or aren't really worth, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze, you know?
Yeah, I think in the next couple of years, we'll really figure out which ones are more legitimate than others for seeing what they're saying is going to do for you.
Well,
But GLPs, I think, have been in research longer and they have more
mhm.
studies with them, which is why they're now really hitting the market. And peptides just, I feel like recently have started to hit the
Almost like
market.
just a step or two behind.
Yeah, so I think there will be more stuff coming out in the next few years on all of that.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Next one is just about longevity and health span.
Yeah, it feels like there's a new shift in the why behind reason people are getting into training and taking better care of themselves. And it's
Yeah.
not just for the sake of I want to lose weight and build muscle. It's also like I want to live a longer life. I want to live a more fulfilled life. I want to really utilize this to help the process of living be something that's more enjoyable, that manages my mental health better, that
Yeah.
allows me to use my body for what it was designed to, instead of just like doing it for an outcome.
Oh, and I think just not necessarily for aesthetic purposes.
Hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, there are people who are still doing that, but there are even more people doing it for general health and longevity.
Yeah, and it's saying, hey, I'd love to lose 20 pounds and put some muscle mass on and get stronger, but really the thing that motivates me is I don't want to be so tired going up and down the stairs. I don't want to
Yeah.
have that energy crash at the end of the day. I want to be able to play with my kids
Yeah.
and enjoy life and go on this vacation where I can ski or hike or explore without feeling like I'm just exhausted.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is where that's like our being brilliant at the basics and our 6 steps to success that we follow here at Avexia is really key to people taking care of their overall health,
The
right?
holistic
The
approach.
holistic approach, hitting all the different things that are going to support your health and optimize your health in a general sense and not just one avenue.
Yeah, so that's getting your strength training in. That's making sure that your body moves well, not just isn't strong, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, is strong, but not just strong.
Yeah.
Getting like low intensity cardio in and making sure that you have good cardiovascular health,
Eating, mostly whole foods or healthy, um, stress management, hydration, limiting toxins and alcohols,
sleep.
sleep. Yeah. All,
Yeah.
all the things.
Just taking a more balanced approach to not just living longer, but living better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feels like the boring stuff
Yeah.
starting to kind of get a little bit more.
I think people are realizing that if you're not doing those things, you're not going to see what you want.
Yeah.
You can do all the shortcuts in the world, but at the end of the day, if you don't continue with the basics, it's just not going to last.
And there's layers to that. There's knowing it and then there's applying it.
For sure.
Because I've had many conversations where people are like, oh, I know that I need to do this. I know that I need to do that. And I can do that. And I can do this. And it's like, but are you?
Yeah.
And if you aren't, then maybe you need to look at a different strategy for how you bring that to life. It's understanding that maybe it is less convenient to do some of that stuff, but now I feel like people are starting to recognize that the inconvenience is worth it. It's going to give you
Yeah.
more back because it's not just being associated with like helping you make an aesthetic change.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's all starting to be in the forefront just a little bit more. Yeah.
Yep. The pushback on HIIT, I feel like a lot of the high intensity interval training stuff is starting to fade a little bit, and there's more awareness and interest and just importance being driven, I guess you could say, around like the lower intensity cardio and just generally getting more movement.
Well, I mean, zone 2 running like that.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just my feed, but I think it is becoming a little bit more of a recognized supportive way of moving your body is going out for a light jog at a slow pace, right? Zone 2 for most
Well, I had
people.
an example of like where this comes from, not just your feed, but like the fastest growing Strava activity in 2025 was walking. It's now the second most common or popular activity in Strava. And if you're not familiar with Strava, Strava is like an endurance training app or endurance
You like
tracking
share
app.
your workout, how long
Yep.
it was, what your pace was, your calories burned, your,
Which kind of
yeah,
piggybacks on what we talked about last year with people getting out more just for walks with weight vests.
yeah,
I mean, a walk, and our take on that, if I recall, was just like, it hasn't really changed. It's, if you want to wear a weight vest, great. Just don't overload it and make it super heavy so it's not beating down on your body.
yeah.
But if like you can just go for a walk too. You don't have to wear a weight
Yeah,
vest.
yeah. Well, and I don't even see as many people wearing weight vests anymore as I used to.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think people are still doing it. I think it's not as, they don't feel like it's necessary when you go out for a walk.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of stuff too, just really re-educating people about the value of working at like 60 to 70% of your heart rate max
Mm-hmm.
instead of going out and just really pushing yourself for your cardio every single time.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was really well educated, I can't remember the source of it, but I saw a professor at a university talking about how the cardiovascular system works, and your heart can only, like, it pumps out a certain volume of blood based on how fast your heart rate is going, but also your stroke volume, which is the amount of blood per pump.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really improve stroke volume when you get much higher than like 70% because your heart rate is running so fast that it can't push out more per beat. So you can
Yeah.
actually improve your cardiovascular health more by training and improving your stroke volume at lower heart rates because it's forcing the heart to improve its efficiency by just pushing more blood out instead of more beats to push blood out.
Yeah.
And it's just the education, the awareness around some of that stuff is that you don't have to go out and crush yourself every single time you're working out.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these studios that are high intensity interval training stuff, some of the cycle
Like
studios,
the HIIT
the hit
classes
class
in
type
general.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, that's starting to fade a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so much so that you even see some of the studios like closing down because they haven't been able to keep up with the change and the shift in the industry.
Yeah.
Or like I've seen studios like Orange Theory or F45 that are a little bit larger businesses are starting to partner with other things that are growing in the industry. Sneak peek at one that we'll talk about, like High Rocks, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that these other studios are trending into, which is also a higher intensity conditioning effort, but training to improve of that is doing a lot more low intensity cardio
Yeah.
to build your base.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to handle that high intensity by doing the low intensity more consistently.
Well, yeah, like your body has to be good at utilizing fat as a fuel source, which is an aerobic
Yeah.
activity. Your cardiovascular health has to improve, which we
Mm-hmm.
talked about isn't just your heart rate, but your stroke volume.
Mm-hmm.
Your recovery has to be better, which is also enhanced by lower intensity cardio.
Yeah.
There's just your energy systems, the mitochondrial density. Like there's so many pieces of the puzzle
Yeah.
that if you think all I do is run my car at 70% or higher, eventually it's going to be burnout and it's not going to be able to run perfectly. But I've got to drive the efficiency when I'm at like an idle pace as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just revving everything at max effort, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I'm not a car girly myself, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. I don't think you mentioned something a while back about changing your oil, and I was like, I would love to see you change the
Yeah,
oil in
I
a
would have to
car.
watch a very in-depth YouTube video
Yeah,
to
lots
be
of
able to
pauses.
accomplish
Okay,
that.
where's that at? What's this
Yeah.
in it? What tool do I need?
Yeah. Well, I think that goes into the next one is strength training for women is definitely becoming more widely popular.
I don't hear as much or see as much of the fear of getting bulky,
Yeah.
getting pushed around.
Yeah, I don't either. I think people are kind of getting past that verbiage about
Mhm.
what it means for women to weightlift. I think they're recognizing that it's good for bone density, hormonal health, metabolic rate, insulin sensitivity, and just the longevity of the human body, right?
Yep,
Creatine is also becoming super popular, which goes hand in hand with like building muscle and strength training,
yep.
especially for women going through perimenopause, any hormonal shifts, like muscle preservation. As you get older, you're just going to be losing muscle if you're not actively maintaining or building it.
And on like the muscle building side of that, it's really just reminding people that there's your creatine or creatine phosphate or phosphocreatine system is like an energy system
Yeah.
that is only developed through strength training
Yeah.
and high effort, high load outputs, obviously done safely and in a controlled and progressive
Yeah.
environment, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, but
But
I think the research on that is starting to become a little bit more prevalent. So I think women are recognizing, like, as I age, I need to be strength training. So,
yeah, the most common fitness demographic we and we see this firsthand,
Mm-hmm.
is women around that like 40 to 45-year-old
I'd
range.
say 30 to
35 to
50.
55,
Yeah,
honestly.
35 to 55.
But
Yeah.
especially like women in their 40s going through perimenopause. And not only the biological or physiological changes that are happening, but think about the common life stresses that happen there. Your parents are aging, you've got kids,
That
you've got
are
a
getting
job,
older and
you're
yeah.
going through later years of your marriage and all the stress and strain of all these other things. And
Yeah.
just there's a lot of stress that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's definitely the demographic of people you see most interested in really making an intentional investment in their health.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree.
Strength training is going to be the best tool for people in this group, 100%. I mean, I
Yeah.
think you go back to all the different things and hacks and stuff that we've talked about in the past. Like,
Mm-hmm.
should I be doing HIIT workouts? Should I be doing cold showers or plunges first thing in the morning or whatever? It's like, start strength training 3 days a
Step
week.
one, strength train. Like
Yes.
get that to be in your routine, non-negotiable. Is that, did I say that right?
Yeah. The
Oh,
second
okay.
time.
Okay. I
Yeah.
still felt like it came out weird.
Get that in your strength training, get that in your routine.
Yeah, to be not a non-negotiable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can cut that
We'll
out
cut that
though.
out for sure. The next trend would be like Pilates, mobility, and more low impact training methods.
Yeah, and I think Pilates has exploded in the last couple of years in general. You'll see tons and tons of like reformer studios opening up.
Yep.
It became really popular, I would say, like after the pandemic. I think it started to become a really popular, like at home style of workout, like mat classes and things.
Mhm.
But in general, I think that's so great. I'm a Pilates instructor. I fully love it and believe in it. I think it's amazing for everybody, but it can't be your only form of exercise and activity.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing to mention with this. I love Pilates. I do it every single week, but it's not the only thing that I do every single week.
I feel like you're starting to see more adoption of this with the male population as well. I mean, your mat classes recently, especially the evening one, have been like male dominated.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have more men than I do women in my mat classes because they're also trying to build core stability, trunk stability,
I mean,
and
pelvic floor
mobility.
health.
Pelvic floor health is just as relevant for men. Maybe not as much as women, but it is for men
Yeah,
too.
I'd say like
Um,
excluding the pregnancy side of things, like prenatal, postpartum, like all of that, I'd say relatively just as important.
for sure. I think the thing with women though is that they don't do the work, so they're I mean, you're postpartum forever technically, and if you don't actively like figure it out, then you're always going to have a problem with it.
A lot of men don't realize they probably have some form of core and pelvic floor issues
Especially if you
though.
sit a lot for work,
Or if
right?
you're on the opposite of that and all you do is go power through heavy lifting, high intensity stuff
True.
too,
Yeah.
there's both ends of the spectrum
Yeah.
are going to be equally as like challenging for you to build that like,
Yeah.
stability.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The point that you have to drive home is that it can't just be like passive stretching. This isn't me downplaying yoga, and it's not just even on the lines of Pilates, because definitely Pilates is, I would say, like if somebody doesn't understand the difference between yoga and Pilates, Pilates is going to be more active stability methods, where yoga, depending on the practice or the style,
Yeah.
like a flow class is going to be different than more of a meditative, restorative class.
Yeah.
So you got to be kind of
There's some
careful about where you get in
nuances
with
here
that,
because, yeah,
for
there's
sure.
different styles of how to do
But when you
things.
talk about the mobility piece of it, is where I was
Yeah.
starting to lean into. It's not just stretching.
Yeah.
You can't just stretch. Passive stretching is not just improving mobility.
Yeah.
Improving mobility is your active capacity to get into range of motion. So
Yeah.
an example of that would be like, can I stretch my knee to my chest by pulling it to my chest, or can I actually like lift my knee up and get it within a reasonable distance there too?
Yeah.
And having control of like the mobility, which once again, going back to, we're obviously biased because both of us, not just you, are Pilates certified.
Yeah.
But a lot of the like improving mobility is not just getting into a deep stretch and just like laying there.
Yeah. For
You got to be
sure.
able to like train your way and build the strength and stability in and out of those ranges of motion too.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing I love about incorporating Pilates into, strength training routines and weeks and stuff is you're working on stabilizing your trunk and your core while you're moving your extremities. And so that's just so much control is involved, and you're challenging your range of motion with your extremities by isolating like a specific joint, like your hips or your shoulders or something like that, while you're stabilizing in one place.
And if you want to understand more about this idea or concept of like mobility and stability, we literally just dropped a YouTube video last week about what happens when you sit all day long
Yeah.
and the difference between mobilizing and stabilizing and how those things need to work together.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely just more information on that
Yeah.
and insight on how to navigate that if
I
it's
think,
something that sparks your interest.
yeah, and I think it's great. Do it, but make sure it's not the only thing that you're doing. You still need to be strength training as well, but they go well together.
Well, yeah, that's where the well-roundedness of this piece comes in. It's like you got to strength train.
Yeah.
You got to drive a stability slash mobility approach to the way that you move, and you got to have good cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
You know, so like all those things collectively work together to get people to be the best version of themselves from a health and performance standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving well, feeling well, and
Being
handling
healthy.
it. Yeah. And being healthy. Yeah.
Yep.
Which goes into the next little piece of the puzzle of health is recovery culture is definitely getting smarter. Now, we talked about cold plunges and saunas and wearable technologies and things like that in last year's trend. And
Yep.
this is where there's some overlap because those things are obviously still trending and still popular modalities of kind of tracking your health and recovering from things.
Yeah, I feel like cold plunges are everywhere. Like either people have them in their house, their backyard, they're in every gym,
And
they're in
saunas are
large
everywhere
spas.
too.
Yep.
I think they're both everywhere. And there's different times and places for each of them.
Yep.
Or if you're doing the contrast therapy route, right? Both of
Yes,
them at
I
the
even had a
same
client
time.
ask about this the other day. She's like, I saw that cold plunging right after a workout is not great. And I was listening to a podcast that was talking about why you shouldn't do that. And obviously, you're going to find claims that support one thing or another, but there has been a pretty significant amount of research that says that for the sake of enhancing like muscle adaptation, cold plunge directly post workout is not always going to be the best thing.
Yeah.
But if you go and combine that with heat and contrast it, that actually can help. The thing that the studies are talking about is that cold is a vasoconstrictor.
Yeah.
So if like you get immersed in something really cold, like your veins and bloodstream is going to like
Yeah.
tighten up and constrict.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are in something with heat, it's going to be a vasodilator, so it's going to help drive more blood flow. In the blood flow, you have more oxygen and nutrients to help drive recovery.
Well,
So
and
being able to constrict and retract, it's like,
yeah,
or
I was gonna
constrict
say
and
going back and forth doing like the
correct.
contrast, go cold, hot is gonna challenge your body to respond and recover and move through both different phases quickly.
So best case scenario, if you have access to do both, that's typically what we would recommend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and wearable technologies or the technology behind all of that is obviously going to continue to evolve and get better and get smarter. Something that I've noticed lately is natural cycles is a way for women to track their phase in their menstrual cycles and hormonal cycles. And they used to only have their own like device. And then they also partnered with Apple Watches, and now they're partnered with Whoop. And now they just recently got partnered with Garmin. So they're connecting their technology to track based off of like your body temperature and all these other signs from other wearable technologies to see where you're at in your cycle and
That's just
that
like
kind of thing.
Aura partnering with Dexcom's Stilo
Yeah.
CGM.
There's a lot of collaboration happening between wearables and technology and devices, which I think is pretty cool.
I mean, think of that from a business perspective. I'm really good at this. You're really good at this. Let's expand our audiences and provide more value. And
Yeah.
we can impact more lives by connecting these two technologies instead of isolating to try to have a race to who can figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing that with a lot of the tech industry in general,
Yeah.
a lot of collaboration and different partnerships between businesses to take and integrate their softwares and hardwares and things together so that you can just provide a better, more accurate experience, you know?
And our take on this last year was obviously we think technology and wearables are great because it's cool to see the data and it's fun to see that
And
and
there's
legitimately use it to
a
give
ton
you
of use for it.
information. But also listen to your body too. Don't just base everything off of what your watch tells you on how you slept last night. Like listen to your body as well on how you feel and how you should go about your training or whatever you've got for that day,
Yeah,
right?
the studies for accuracy and validity are
Yeah.
definitely
They're not 100%.
not 100%, and it varies significantly based on what feature and what device and what brand.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if
You sent me
we,
something about a study about this, but they'd said like Aura was the best for sleep. They talked about
Garmin,
Apple was
yeah.
the best for like steps, and
Hmm.
Garmin was the best for heart rate. So each brand's going to kind of have their own
Thing that they're best
pros
at.
and cons.
Yeah.
But that's where some of these integrations can definitely help because you can say, okay, this brand does the best at this, and now I can access that through Garmin or
Yeah.
Apple or whatever, you know?
Whatever you've got. Yeah. Yeah. Next one is gut health and just like advanced lab testing.
Hmm.
I've seen a ton of like advanced lab testing. People are going outside of their main like primary care doctor to get more in-depth labs to get more information on what's going on than just like the standard like blood panel that you would normally
Well, if you
get in
look
your
at
yearly
the
labs.
reference ranges from what most standard panels offer, they're pretty broad. Not to mention the number of things they test are also
I was
pretty
gonna say like
limited.
what you're actually getting from your test is like basic stuff, but if you've got something going on that's not maybe showing up in some of the general labs, there's so many other deeper labs that are going to do in more in-depth testing, pull different reports.
So important to make sure that if you are getting labs from a general practitioner or a family practice or someone that is a generalist
Hmm.
that doesn't really specialize in optimization or wellness collectively and have anything to diagnose or prescribe or recommend to you other than a medication or a thumbs up and general advice, you'd probably need to look into second opinion and something deeper.
Yeah.
I can't even count the number of people that are visibly struggling with some form of metabolic syndrome that are like, well, my labs look good.
You're like,
Well, where did you get your lab testing done and what types of reference ranges? So there might be a reference range for a marker or metric that goes from like 20 to 180, and optimal is somewhere in the middle of that.
and you're at
But
like 22 and they're like, well, you're in the ranges. And you're
for
like,
sure,
well, yes, but
you're
not
you're
really.
not at risk for a significant issue, but it does not put you in a position for your body to function. So like if I'm healthy, generally healthy, and I can optimize to improve my performance and I can tighten up these reference ranges and windows of what health and optimization look like, my metabolism and my body are going to start to take note of those things and naturally just like shed the weight that you don't need,
Well, and I
you
think
know?
even if like performance isn't like a main thing for you, like let's say you don't have a performance goal,
Yeah,
or you're
let's
not trying to do
define
a
performance.
race, or you're not trying to be like the best at this or whatever. Maybe you're just like, I just want to be healthier so I don't have brain fog anymore and my energy levels don't dip every day and I'm not totally exhausted by the end of the day.
That's
Be-
performance too.
that's performance for just life, but I guess when you said performance earlier, I was thinking people might be taking it like performing for a race or an event or something. And if you're not wanting to perform for something like that, it's just general life feeling good.
I would say that that's something that is probably more of like a trend that will catch up
Yeah.
is people recognizing performance is not just performing athletically.
I think historically that word has been connected to
Brain
performing.
performance,
Yeah, for
energy
sure.
performance, I mean like
Yeah.
relational performance, like
Yeah.
all the different things that allow you to feel good about the way that you show up in the world.
Totally.
That's performance. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people do mistake that, but I
Yeah.
would maybe we come back and down the road we're like people recognizing performance as everyday
I know.
things, you know?
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. But that's what I mean by performance. And that's
Yeah.
why we talk about it that way is so that people understand you don't have to be, like you said, putting your foot at the starting line and having a timer or competing against anybody. It's just about being a better version of yourself and improving your performance can be quantified in a lot of different ways, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No. Well, and I think gut health, like just people being more conscious of like fiber and fermented foods and like cultural diversity of the foods that you're eating and just maybe doing like gut health tests to see what your microbiome looks like down there, stool tests,
I feel
other
like
ways of
people are talking more
testing.
about microbiome in general.
Yeah, yeah. So I think those things are here to stay and they'll continue to evolve and get better and have more awareness around them, but they're definitely trending right now.
Yeah. And if you're struggling for where to get any type of lab testing, we do have a connection with Sage Bio. If you
Yeah.
listen to the episode with Dr. Kyle Gillette, very legitimate resource that he has, and you can get that testing done anywhere in the US.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all done online, and they have what's called Noctor, which is a not a doctor. It's an AI that they have trained to be able to answer and support insight on specific lab test results.
Just like an overview of like what your lab is
Yeah,
saying,
so you
your
would just
results
pop
are
into a
saying.
LabCorp location, which are located all over the place after you order a lab on their website. So it's sagebio.com.
Hmm.
And then you can actually get a discount if you put in Avexia, you can get 10% off. But they will send you instructions. You go to the lab place, they draw your blood, and then that information is loaded up into Sage Bio, and you can actually use the AI to help give you, and it's HIPAA compliant too, so it can give you some suggestions based on where you see and what's in there. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I know you can also go to like Quest Diagnostics and even go to LabCorp online and order labs directly from them.
Mm.
But another thing that Kyle actually talked about in the podcast when he was in here is just understanding where you're getting your labs from, because there's such thing as like higher quality lab testing and lower quality lab testing. If you go to a place where the labs are extra super duper cheap, they're probably going with the lower quality options to serve you. And you can end up in a situation where you have more like false negatives or false positives on things. So,
Yeah.
want to
Just
find quality, there's a
just
hookup
like
on that.
anything, quality, it makes a
You
difference.
get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can go out
Yeah.
and get a cheap $75 lab test, but you've got to be careful too about like what is the company that's giving you the cheap lab trying to drive. It goes back to the last episode we talked about.
Mm.
Like, is there a focus on giving you a really good look at what your labs are, or is there focus on the outcome of what they can diagnose or prescribe you from whatever the results come back
Well,
in?
and the example that comes to my mind right now is like if you're testing your thyroid, like there's like 3 or 4 different markers that you need to look at, but some labs might
T3,
only test
T4,
like your
TSH. Yeah.
overall or something and not like test the other ones. And so it's like, cool, yeah, you tested this, but what about this and this to give you the full
Yeah, it's an
picture,
incomplete view of
an
what's going
incomplete
on.
view of what's going on. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. More data than ever, and I think that that can create some anxiety, but just like what we mentioned in the last episode, it's all about awareness. If you
Yeah.
can use it as a tool and you can be a critical thinker and make an educated decision on things, it's
Yeah.
going to lead you down a path that's going to get you more bang for your buck.
Yeah, for sure. Next one is,
Community and social fitness
I think there has been, I think this is
post-pandemic.
post-pandemic, community has been bigger than ever, especially in the fitness industry, because people were looking for an outlet and a way to connect with other people. And I think that's what really kickstarted like community-driven events and gyms and spaces and groups and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Run clubs, not that that wasn't happening before the pandemic, but like I think it got even bigger after,
yeah.
right?
Well, you think about like the loneliness epidemic that we go through. A lot of people are locked into devices and getting their quote unquote social fix
Yeah.
through social media. And even social media has evolved from what it used to be 10 years ago, where it
Yeah.
was like something that you saw and maybe you talked about, not the only form of isolated engagement you have with people.
Well, and also, I think a lot of people work from home now too. So it's like you're working by yourself in your house, like it's just people don't have as much social interaction in their day-to-day life as is,
Yeah.
right? So finding an outside community to connect with who has similar goals as you or you can relate with, I think is really important.
And being in social environments that aren't surrounded by alcohol and food sometimes too, right?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
being able to put yourself in an environment where you can get your social fix, but you can also do something that's good for your mind and your body,
Yeah.
and it can collectively serve you. We've talked about precision nutrition's deep health,
Mm-hmm.
and if you put yourself in a clean environment around like-minded people doing things that are good for your physical and your emotional health, like that knocks off 4 of the 6 deep health metrics that they talk about.
Yeah. Well, and I think having a community of people you enjoy spending your time around is going to increase your like adherence levels to whatever that said thing
Yeah,
is.
because if you quit, you're not just quitting a place, you're quitting people.
Yeah,
You're dropping relationships.
yeah,
And accountability is going to be way higher whenever you have people that you don't want to let down.
yeah,
People are quick to let themselves down, but if you've got somebody waiting for you at an appointment or at a gym or in a class or at a run club or wherever it might be,
yeah,
you even see now like social health clubs
yeah,
are starting to pop up, and like social lounges or health and wellness lounges are starting to pop up. These are places that don't offer alcohol, but they're places for people to gather and engage and socialize that aren't driven around the like consumption experience of food and booze.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I say like, especially in the Kansas City area, I feel like in the summer months, you see tons of like, do this, outdoor workout or event or activity, and then come and get these vitamin shots over here and do this over
We've
here
done
and
that
do
a
the
few times,
Yeah,
and
we've done stuff like that because people like going to an event that isn't around alcohol and food, but it's around movement and health and
social engagement.
social engagement in that way. And I think that that's a
What
cool way to connect.
and this is something, I mean, one of the things we've done here is really try to intentionally drive the community feel,
Yeah.
finding ways to force engagement among people, partnering people up in sessions, having events, having
Hmm.
opportunities to help people grow together and not only improve their own health, but help other people around them.
Yeah.
Not to get too, uh, I don't know what the word is, but I'll just say deep. But like part of what we're here for is to enhance the lives of the people around us, even if you're not out here trying to do that. But something as simple as me being in a session and cheering the person next to me on when I don't really even know them that well
Or what their goals
or
are or
what their
anything
goals are. It's
else.
just like, hey, you know what? Like I see you, I respect you, and people want to be seen. They want to feel seen.
Yeah.
And providing an environment for that is something that we've found has been a really big key to our success. Like if you go look at any of our Google reviews, 90% of them talk about the people.
Yeah.
The process is there for sure,
The
but they're not
way that
talking
the
about
people here make them feel
correct.
from, coming and connecting and building relationships with.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up,
High Rocks.
yeah.
High Rocks has gotten really big in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I
Now, I know
think
it's
you
been around for a little bit longer than that, but I don't think it really started getting traction until the last few years.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exploded in the last 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had over, we looked into some of the stats on this before, but they've
Yeah.
had like 1,000% plus increase in participation over the last 5 years. They have had over 500,000 participants worldwide,
Yeah.
which is
And
pretty insane.
like 300,000 spectators too, because they're really big on like you can watch the whole event and they make room for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it felt like we were at a festival when we went to the one in Dallas. I mean, there
Yeah.
was 45,000 people there over the course of the weekend.
Yeah.
And
Competitors and spectators combined. Yeah.
yeah, it was insane. I mean, it's cool though. I mean, when you step into an environment and you look around, and you see all these people that are fit and they are taking good care of themselves and they're competitive. It goes back to the community side of it. And then
Hmm.
there's good music, there's vendors.
There's
Just you can
vibes.
feel the energy like you walk into a club.
Literally, it was like a club, a fitness club,
Yeah.
like a club for fitness.
Well, I mean, even then, I'd say the early wave of High Rocks, I was like, whatever. This is just like the next CrossFit thing.
Yeah.
And even going into the one that we competed in was just kind of like, yeah, we're just doing it to give it a shot. But after we went, it was like, whoa, this is really cool. I think it'd be fun to come back, one, and test ourselves after like training for it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But two, like, I want to experience this again. Like, this is a really cool environment. This made me better. It forced me to get out of my comfort zone.
Well, and it's one of those things. It is of course about you because you're doing the race for yourself,
Yep.
right? But everybody around you is like also working really hard and
Yep.
trying their best and going through the same struggle and like exhaustion that you are at the same
Suffering.
time. Suffering. I know. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out that word. But so it kind of gives you that camaraderie around the people around you while you're competing, which is another thing about the community. I feel like that connects with community or around like-minded individuals who are there to compete together,
It's just as much social as it is
totally.
fitness and competition.
Especially High Rocks because I don't know, but like a lot of people like try to have matching coordinated outfits and get the pictures. Like it's more than just a race. It really
Well, and the
is.
pictures and the professional photography.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it took over social media, which has been a big part of what's allowed it to grow. Like everybody's got these professional pictures of them doing
Yeah. From the
these
race.
badass events at the
With your
race.
matching outfits with your partner
Yeah.
and you're vibing and the
A
music is
little bit of a status
bumping.
thing too, you know?
Yeah. So they had more than 80 races worldwide in 2025. And this year, 2026, they already have like added, I don't even know how many more
There's definitely been a
cities.
lot more US opportunities.
They've,
Like
yeah.
Nashville, Denver.
Yeah.
They're
Salt Lake
starting Salt Lake,
City.
they're starting to
Mhm.
slowly work its way into the
I
Midwest.
know that's true because it wasn't probably, it was like LA and
Chicago
Vegas. Yeah.
and Dallas and all in the outskirts and the real big cities, but
Yeah.
it'd be really cool if they brought one to KC. And I think at the pace it's growing,
Maybe
you
in a
never know.
year
Maybe
or
in the next
two.
year or two, you
Yeah,
may see
for
one here
sure.
in the Kansas City area. But I think it's also important to mention that you don't even have to necessarily go to a race to benefit from this trend. It's just the community side of it you'll find in any well-delivered High Rocks training club or affiliate studio.
For sure. Well, and if you do want to attend a race, there's no qualifications needed. You can be at any fitness level. There's multiple different levels that you can sign up for. You don't have to be a pro or be a top dog to
It's every bit as
compete.
accessible as any half marathon you'll ever run.
Totally. I mean, anybody can sign up
Yep.
and you'll be put in a division that you know, are qualified for, but
Yep.
that could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the opportunity for everyone and everyday people to participate is big. And I think that's what makes it a little bit different than like CrossFit
Well, it's
games.
funny because you literally asked me the other day, just like, do you think High Rocks is bigger than CrossFit? I'm like, define bigger.
Yeah. Depends on what you're like
I bet they've made
referring
more
to.
money on an annual basis for
Well,
sure.
they have more events.
And then
And every
they're
event is bringing in tons of
well, just
money.
have to think about that. They have the events and then they have the affiliates.
Mm-hmm.
And the affiliate membership isn't crazy, very reasonable,
Yeah.
but the events are where they're killing it.
Oh, yeah. The events is where they're making their
And if you
money.
think about CrossFit, like they don't have, like you were about to say, they don't have events that are
Like
accessible like
throughout
that.
the year, all year long.
Correct. And the skill set required to compete in a CrossFit event is Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics, max strength,
Swimming, running.
swimming, biking, running. So it is definitely like there are definitely different things. So we're
Yeah.
not here to downplay CrossFit because CrossFit is cross fitness. It is fantastic
Yeah.
for developing a wide base of fitness.
Yeah.
We still integrate like some of that type of stuff into our own training and some here where it's safe and scalable. Not needing gymnastics or Olympic lifting,
Or
but some of the
swimming.
conditioning methods or swimming or biking or anything else really. But just the idea of like being able to physically be strong, have good endurance, and have skills is what I
Yeah.
was saying.
Yeah. 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 I mean, they're different. CrossFit is different than High Rocks. You can't, I mean, you can compare a little bit, but
Everybody
like
wants to compare them. I don't
everybody,
think they're as
yeah.
comparable as people think. They require a mix of fitness, and I think it's about as far as it goes. And
But I think High Rocks there's more events throughout the year. Almost anybody can sign up for it and do it. I think they have more participants throughout the year,
yeah,
right?
well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know CrossFit has like their own kind of like
I
we did a
guess
High Rocks sim.
the
You could
open would
do,
be different, and that's where it's like that's a virtual event, right? Like there's
yeah,
tons of people that go through and
you
do
can
the
do it
open
at your
every year.
gym
I
and
don't have the
whatever.
stats on that, so I have no idea. But you
Yeah.
don't have to like pay to go to a place to be a part of the open.
Correct.
So just
Yeah.
they're just very different. But
Yeah.
High Rocks has definitely gone from a niche to more of a global movement, no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a big community driver as well. So I think it goes along with the trend before that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The protein obsession, and it's not that protein is new,
Mhm.
but protein is in literally everything now. So much so that you have mainstream big name restaurants coming out offering protein only menus. Starbucks put protein in a lot of their coffees.
Yeah.
Chipotle, you can buy protein sides
Yeah.
now.
Like you can just get like a cup of chicken or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody is recognized that more protein in foods is going to be valuable, and it's a pro and there are cons. Like there's good and bad to it.
Yeah. I think it's obviously good that people are consuming more protein. Like I don't want to say that that's a bad thing, but
But like protein ice cream and
protein
protein
pasta,
coffee.
protein coffee, like, yeah, we'll have some of that here and there. But at the end of the day, it's,
If I'm eating ice cream, I'm just eating ice cream
yeah, like eat the food for what it is. Don't eat it like don't
because it has a fake health food
because it
label
has
on
a
it,
fake
just like we
health
talked about in the
food.
last
Yeah,
episode.
that's what I was trying to get at. So, because like just because something's labeled as like high protein and it's maybe only got like 5 grams of protein, because typically it's a product that maybe doesn't have any protein and they added something in there to give it a little bit of protein just so they could market that it has
So you start
protein.
putting protein in fruit and
Yeah.
labeling it as high protein.
Yeah.
This is a high protein apple.
Or like granola or whatever, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, there's so many things that they're just spinning the marketing to jump on the bandwagon of the high protein obsession lately.
So now, if this isn't already obvious, like the whole food sources of this are obviously still king. Like if you get
Yeah.
if you hit your macro goal for protein, but that was a protein bar, some protein chips, and a protein coffee for the day, your gut's gonna be wrecked, number one, which goes back to the gut microbiome
But then
thing.
you're like, you're also missing out on tons of micronutrients that you get from like a chicken breast or ground beef or yogurt or cheese or whatever,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Not a complete source or a whole source.
yeah, and there's just so many other factors that go into like nutritionally what's best for you, you
Yeah.
know?
That's another thing to mention too, is that when you talk about the different types of protein sources, there is such thing as a complete protein and incomplete protein.
Hmm.
And incomplete proteins, they don't have the full amino acid profile.
Yeah.
And amino acids are like the building blocks to help with protein synthesis. And like a chicken breast is going to have a complete protein source, but like even like collagen powder is not a complete
Not a
protein.
complete protein. Yeah.
So those types of like nuances I think are really important to
Well,
point
and
out
like
too.
collagen protein is beneficial for other things, though, you know, not
Yep.
necessarily your protein count on your macros for the day.
Yep.
So it's not that you can't take collagen because there are other benefits that you're getting from taking that, but it's not necessarily going to help you hit your protein targets for the
Speaking of
day.
collagen, that was one of the things we talked about was collagen and protein last year.
Was collagen in
Or
protein?
sorry, collagen in coffee
Coffee.
and
Yeah.
foods.
Just like protein coffee.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about like you like to put collagen in your coffee, and I like to put like a little bit of my whey protein into my coffee. So it's like we're both getting a little protein coffee, but in different ways for different needs and reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you haven't picked up on this already, typical recommendation is somewhere around like zero point 0.8 grams per pound of body weight that you have
Point
for
0.8 to
target.
1 for
Yeah.
most people. If you're an athlete and have muscle building goals, you probably need a little bit more than that.
Yep. But just got to start with getting the basics first or the
Yeah,
baseline first.
just consuming as many whole food sources of protein as you can. And then, yeah, if you need to get a little bit in from other sources, but don't make protein bars, protein chips, protein shakes your main source of protein for the day.
Yeah. I would say that you
Yeah.
need to have like at least 75% of your protein intake from
And
complete
then if you get a
protein
little bit
sources,
more
whole
from like a
foods.
shake or something like that,
Yeah. No big deal.
cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that was 10. That was our top 10 trends of 2026. I think to round it all out, I think the science is getting deeper on some of these topics. The technology is getting smarter.
It's being more integrated into a lifestyle change instead of it just being like a thing. Like you're a fitness person. It's like, no, we all need to be fitness
We
people.
all need to be health conscious,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And eating clean is starting to be recognized as not like dieting culture.
Yeah.
And optimization is getting more accessible. And the pace at which this is changing is going to move at the same pace that technology probably does, and accessibility and social media and just all of those things have. So I would imagine that you'll see continued rapid change and enhancements and
Adaptations to
adaptations.
things that are already
Yep.
trending or popular. They're just going to keep getting better and more insightful and supportive of overall health and optimization.
Yeah. And a lot of it is starting to become more mainstays. So it'll be interesting to see what else pops up. I don't know that we're going to run into, like, my prediction for 2027 wouldn't be that you're going to run into anything that's like groundbreaking that nobody's ever heard about. I don't think you'll see something a year from now pop on the scene that's like the type of impact that we've seen with the increase in GLPs and peptides. Like, I don't think that you're going to see this big brand new thing. I just think it'll be more enhanced versions of what's already
I
starting
think
to
all
roll
of
out.
these things will continue to, yeah, get better,
Yeah, more
enhance.
enhanced versions, more awareness,
Yeah.
more accessibility,
Yeah. Yeah. Accessibility.
affordability.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
awesome. Well, that rounds out number 50, number
Yeah.
50 of the Higher Form podcast. So if you've been rocking with us for a while,
Woo, woo.
thank you. We have more to come.
Yeah.
We will catch you next week.
This episode of the Higher Form podcast is powered by Avexia Health and Performance, your home for smart training, simple nutrition, and real accountability. Built to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Whether you're just getting started or chasing your next level, visit avexiakc.com to learn more and start building your higher form today.